Okay, here's my problem with the character of Finn in the new Star Wars movies. Now, do I dislike John Boyega? No, I think he's a pretty charismatic actor, and I liked him in Attack the Block. I mean, he's no Denzel or anything like that, even though he keeps trying to be, and no Catherine Bigelow, he's not. He's still decent and funny. Let's focus on The Last Jedi, and my main issue with Finn's storyline, or let's say his character arc, if you can call it that. I didn't have many issues with Finn in the first movie outside of them not really exploring the backstory of who his friends were, how long he's been a member of the First Order, how many missions has he been on. It just kind of jumped in like, hey, this guy's at this thing and he doesn't want to kill people, so he's a good guy now. Okay, but what I liked about Finn, and I really did, was that he was a guy that, well, was kind of out for his own skin at first. You know, he freed Poe because he needed a pilot, and then he got involved in this thing that was bigger than he expected, and, you know, because he thought Poe died, he took the jacket, and it meant something to him, and then he met Rey, and she inspired him. And throughout the movie, he's fighting to join the Resistance. He doesn't want to be part of this. He just wants to get away and avoid the Starkiller. Well, at one point, he's about to leave, and then they get attacked by the First Order, and Finn joins up with Han Solo, Chewie, and everyone, and gets a lightsaber and starts fighting off First Order soldiers. That's the famous traitor scene. After that, Finn's chasing to save Rey, and then she gets taken off by Kylo Ren. He teams up with Han Solo and then flies off with the Resistance, and then goes with them on the plan to blow up the Starkiller base. So his arc in that movie is a guy that runs away from the battle at the beginning. That's what he does. He gets an order and he doesn't follow it. And then at the end of the movie, it's him versus Kylo Ren. A guy with a big red lightsaber who's got, magic powers who can kill him. And what does Finn do? He stands there and he holds a lightsaber and he's ready to fight this guy. It's one of the most brave moments in the movie. And he's not just doing it to protect Rey because she's his friend. That's a big part of it. But he's doing it because he hates this guy. He's sick of this stuff. I mean, the beginning's a nice little setup visually. Kylo looks at Finn. And Finn doesn't have a name then. He's just a number. And then at the end, he has a name. And I believe, I may remember it wrong. I think Kylo even calls him by his number thing at the end. And it kind of taunts him. So that's his character arc. He gets taken out. And, Rey leaves to go find Luke. So I pointed out my issues with Finn's character arc in The Last Jedi and the Rose subplot, and how much I didn't like the stuff on the casino planet, and I really didn't like what they did with the romance and her crashing into him and him not really getting a payoff, and how disconnected he was from Poe and Rey, these characters I thought he built a friendship with in the previous film. I just wanted to see that kind of continue. I wanted to see that develop more, but he didn't spend really any time at all with those characters. He spent most of his time with the new character, who I didn't hate, even though I made a whole video about Rose. I don't hate the idea of Rose, but I think she takes away from what could be a very more dramatically focused film where you care about the dynamics of the trio. I thought the original trilogy did that a lot better. But I pointed out my issues with this, and a lot of responses I've been getting from people are that they're explaining Finn's character arc to me, and I'm very open to hearing this. So the idea that I've been hearing is that apparently Finn is going to run off at the beginning of the movie. He tries to leave, and then Rose stops him, and then he joins up with her to follow through on this plan to deactivate the thing on the ship with the First Order. So him and her leave, and I guess what they say is that he's a guy who wants to run away and he doesn't want to be part of this, and then throughout the movie, because of Rose showing him how bad things are and what they need to do, and freeing the animals and all that stuff, at the end of the movie, he wants to sacrifice himself and fight for the Resistance. His character arc was that he started out like a coward who was trying to leave, and then by the end, he's a guy who tries to save the day and be a hero before Rose crashes into him, and she loves him, so she kisses him and everything. So here's my problem with that, and this is my response to this, and you probably see where this is going. Finn already had that character arc. That was Finn's character arc in The Force Awakens. Finn was a guy who was trying to run away and get out of this thing, and he kept getting pulled into it. And then by the end of it, he was with the Resistance fighting. I mean, the whole third act, he's there fighting with them because he likes Han, and he likes Poe, and he likes Rey. There's a scene where Poe shoots all the guys with the when he flies in and kills him, and Finn's all like, "That's one hell of a pilot right there." You know, there's bonding moments. They hug. So the characters start to build a relationship, and you get why they're fighting. Now, you may say to me, what about Han Solo? He tried to leave. Well, Han Solo was worried about Jabba the Hutt. That was the only reason he ever really wanted to leave. And he comes back at the end of the first movie, so that's his arc. In Empire, yes, he was going to leave, but you know what's going to happen with Jabba. It's not because he's a coward. It's because he doesn't have any options. And then he gets in this chase plot line with Leia. Well, Finn just seems to want to leave to go find Rey. I guess is what I was getting from it. And then Rose stops him because she says he's leaving because he knows everyone's going to die. And I don't know. If this is just some character trait he has, that's pretty lame because I thought that was already handled in the first movie. We still don't know a lot about Finn. We don't know his background. We don't know much about him. His relationship with Phasma is sorely underdeveloped. There's this constant thing where it feels like he's having some antagonistic relationship with Phasma because of their history, but we don't know that history. I don't mind it being implied, but I just wish there was more there. I'd like for those fights between them to have a little bit more impact. I mean, the traitor moment was more of an F yeah moment for me than the fight with Phasma in this movie. So what I'm getting at here is that I feel like Finn's just gone in circles. I don't feel like there's been anything new happening with this character. I was hoping that when he'd wake up in this movie, he would be continuing from his storyline in the previous film, and he would be the Finn that I saw get developed. But I guess for a lot of people, they thought Finn was still the same. He was still in that place where he was scared and running away. If you still view it that way, that's fine. I'm not telling you how to interpret the film. But for me, the reason Finn doesn't work in The Last Jedi is just for the simple reason that I felt that this has already happened, and it was too familiar to me, and I don't feel like there was enough new things. The stuff that Rose said to him I didn't think was deep enough to really, I don't know, warrant any kind of emotion out of me. And it was such obvious subtext with the war profiteering, with the animal rights. There was nothing about it that I thought was very subtle. And I don't really think Finn came off like the kind of guy that wouldn't care about that stuff anyway. He's not really a bad guy. He's a good dude. As I said before, why is he supposed to be a gray character now? He really wasn't that kind of guy. He did the right thing generally. He didn't really like doing bad things. Also, I don't know, he's already been in the fight. He escaped with Rey and the Millennium Falcon. He's fought a lot. I didn't really buy this whole coward idea that people seem to have. Also, he seemed to jump on the plan really quick with Poe and Rose when they came up with it. So if he was that scared, why did he jump on the bandwagon so quick? I don't. And maybe in the movie, if he kept trying to get away, and that was a running gag in the movie that Finn kept trying to run away and she had to stop him, then maybe that would make sense. Like Rose has to stun Finn several times, which is basically the plot to. It's like the scene in Transformers 2 where they have this kid tag along with them. But he's trying to escape every time they go somewhere, and Rose is like, no. And that's kind of the dynamic they build with each other. But that, as far as I remember, that only happens once. I don't remember Finn trying to escape several times, but once again, maybe I remember it wrong. I've seen the movie a couple times, and I don't remember him trying to escape several times. So to me, instead of developing the friendship with him and Poe, or a character like Rey who he had something established with, or give him something to do that has some kind of payoff and it's not just there for subversion, and he doesn't have this whole side plot that really doesn't have it really doesn't pay off. Some people say it pays off for the character development and the romance, but I didn't really see that. Or that Rose's purpose is to take away the thing with Kylo and to take away from Finn and Rey and focus more on Kylo and Rey. But I don't think you need to have Rose there to do that. But Finn doesn't work quite because he hardly had a well-defined character in the first movie, but he had an arc, and it was at least part of the story. He served a purpose. They needed him to be the trash guy. He was the janitor guy. They needed him to help them blow up the Starkiller base. Without him, a lot of the events that happened that end up really working wouldn't have worked out. So that's what's cool about it, He's just some kid that is in over his head, joins up with this awesome guy Poe, then he's left alone and he takes the guy's jacket. And it's really symbolic, like he kind of wants to be Poe. Like he thinks about himself being that way, maybe he could be cool too. But he's really not Poe. He tries to give him the jacket at the end and Poe tells him keep it. And then Finn ends up being a hero at the end like Poe. That's what at least I got from the movie. Maybe I'm giving J.J. Abrams too much credit. But I thought because of his friends, he was able to get the strength to become the guy he knew he could be and actually be part of something and be proud of it, not like he was at the beginning. This movie, if that's the same conclusion he came to at the end, then I guess that's cool. But I don't know. I don't find it that interesting. And Finn is Finn's an actor that I like, and there's a lot of ideas about him I like. A stormtrooper turning and joining the good guys, and I like him being, mixed in with the Jedis and trying to use lightsabers, and he doesn't have the Force. I think there's a lot of things about it that are really cool, but I don't think they're explored. So overall, I like Finn. Do not like him in The Last Jedi, and I don't know what you could do with him in Episode 9 that would be interesting. And if you're going to give him another subplot side story, at least have it pay off more or give him more to do. He really didn't do that much if you look at the movie. And it's just upsetting because he's one of the main characters, and it feels like Rey got some stuff to do. Not too much, but Poe got a lot to do, really. Like, early on, he gets that big sequence. And, I don't know, I just feel like the movie, because it had too many characters, it spread everything too thin, and we really didn't get to feel attached to these people. It was hard to get your emotions focused on one thing. And I at least remember when The Force Awakens came out, which is not a movie I love, I at least felt somewhat attached to these characters because there was focus on them. And I think that was lacking here. But that's just my opinion. Like, comment, and subscribe.